Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. We're coming up on 10 years of World Ballet Day, which I can't believe because I've been watching it from year one. So I thought in celebration, we would go back to year one, which is 2014, and go watch the Royal Ballet's company class. Let's go. I'm so excited.
I'm not alone today. I've got help from an expert. I should be joined by the Royal Ballet's very own Kristen McNally, who should be through here. Good morning, Kristen. How are you, my love? You all right? Very good. Wow, look at this.
I'm going to stop for a quick second here and just say I love that Kristen McNally has hosted this from year one. It's kind of like coming back to see a friend every year, and she's actually been joined by Alexander Campbell for the last 3 or 4 years, and they do a phenomenal job.
So, tell me, what have we got in store today?
So we have loads of exciting stuff coming up. We have the legend that is Carlos Acosta rehearsing his production of Don Quixote. We celebrate
Sorry, I have to stop again. Carlos Acosta's Don Quixote, or Don Quixote, is actually on stage at the Royal Opera House right now. I'll put links and such below. If you're in the area, you can go take a look. But they might even actually be doing a live in-cinema relay. I'll look into that after, and if that's the case, I'll put links down below as well. But that's so funny. What are the odds? That's Yasmin Nagdi on the bar in the green vest zip-up. Olivia Cowley in the grey joggers and the black knit. Fumi Kaneko in the hot pink hoodie there. Maddie Ball in the red shirt in the corner. Valentino Zucchetti and Marcelino Sambe in the orange zip. And James Hay. I love watching James Hay. I'm going to pause for just a second and say this is usually what I do at the beginning of World Ballet Day, is kind of scoping out the class and seeing who's there and who's not there that year, and if there's any new dancers, or it changes a little bit every year. So that's usually how I start off my World Ballet Day, or at least company class with World Ballet Day. That's Tara Brigitte Bavnani in the light blue t-shirt and the pink shorts. I've always loved watching her, and a fellow Canadian. She's actually retired now. She's teaching.
Good. Thank you. Left side, please.
And that's Camille Brocker in the kind of light pink plum long leg warmers. She's a beautiful South African dancer. She's actually also retired now, but she has this really great Instagram where she gives tips and such, and it's really great. So I'll put a link down below, and I'll see if I can put a card up here. In that light brown and taupe vest top, I think that's Ashley Dean, and she's a soloist now, but she has this Instagram for all of her art. She's really lovely artist and does all these line drawings. So she'll take photos of dancers and then do a line drawing of it, and they're really, really beautiful. I actually want to order a couple for the wall behind me, so I need to look into that, but it's very, very cool. I'll link that down below too. Oh, and there's Francesca Hayward in the gray.
Circle. Good. From the back.
I'm gonna pause for a second and just say I love how, and all we see is World Ballet Day classes, right? But I love how simple the exercises are, and it's a really great reminder that to have a great class or give yourself a great class, you really don't need to make the exercises that complicated. It kind of depends what your goal is. But again, a simple exercise does not mean easy.
Out, back, up, tendu, and tendu. One side, other side. Yeah, front plie, transfer, brush, plie, point, close. 2 transfers in second, 2 tendus in second.
I love weight transfer exercises at the bar, and I haven't always done them, but I've been incorporating them more into the classes that I give myself or the bars that I give myself at home. And it really just prepares me for weight transfers in the center. But I love these exercises. I'll have to add this one into my classes.
Transfer, brush, brush, plie, transfer, close, side, plie, up, plie, tendu to the front, tendu to the back.
We always get Sundays off. We don't, because this Sunday we've actually got a performance of Manon. So this is a 7-day week.
Okay.
But everybody will have a different focus if we went round the class and asked what they're doing. Some people will just be getting their bodies warm. Some people...
I'm pretty sure because she's talking about how people have a different focus for the class. Some people are just warming up. Some people may not have a lot of rehearsals that day. And so this is really the focus for the day is technique. And some people might be recovering. I'm pretty sure this is the year that Francesca Hayward, so Frankie, had debuted in Manon the night before. And she had just been promoted to soloist. And I think that makes sense because this is 2014. She would have been promoted to first soloist in 2015 and then principal in 2016. So I think that's this year. The Royal Ballet is also doing Manon this year in January, actually. I've been fed so many ads for it because I watch so much ballet online. I'll put the links for that down below too.
This might be recovering, like we've got one of the girls, I can't find her at the minute, I'll point her out later. Frankie made her debut as Manon yesterday, so that'll be her first full 3-act ballet. She's just recently been promoted to a soloist.
She'll be exhausted.
Exhausted today. As a recovery to see how her body's feeling. She'll have never experienced this before.
There was an interview I listened to, it was a podcast. Frankie was talking about her career and about her really liking character roles and acting roles and it being her strong suit. And I would really like to see her in Manon. Again, they're doing it now this year, which is quite funny because it's 10 years later. But, you know, I can already imagine 10 years ago that she would have been quite good in that role. So 10 years down the line, I can imagine that she's even that much better and that much stronger in the role. And that's Megan Grace Hinkis in the front of the bar there. She's kind of all in black and charcoal. She was originally at Boston Ballet years ago now and has been at the Royal Ballet for a long time, but I love watching her too. And she's a first soloist now.
Plies, then it goes to tendus, then glisses.
I like this exercise.
The legs get a little bit higher. So in a sense, that pattern of exercises stay the same.
Kristen McNally is doing a really wonderful job. This is the first year of World Ballet Day, so it's the first year that she's hosting World Ballet Day. I don't know if she's done any hosting work before or any public speaking work before, but she's doing a really great job.
Out and close, reverse, and in, hold, in.
I'm just smiling because I'm looking at the back of the studio here and I'm trying to figure out where the chairs are. Usually this is the Clore studio and it's meant to almost replicate a theater setting. And there are these chairs in the back that are staggered. They're raised chairs and they're there every year. Were they not installed in 2014? Or maybe they were pushed back? I mean, this guy in the back is sitting there, so there's a chair.
Second time only 3 brushes.
I don't know.
To the other side. Thank you.
So in the striped leg warmers pants, that's Stephen McRae, and in front of him is his wife, Elizabeth Harrod, who's pregnant. She's incredible. I can't believe she's done this 3 times. It's absolutely inspiring. And Stephen McRae is one of my favorite dancers with the Royal Ballet. He's so fun to watch. I remember him sticking out to me immediately in one of the first Royal Ballet classes I'd seen, and it was just immediate obsession. So he's a lot of fun to watch. He has a lot of facility in his body. He's really able to move very well and has a huge range, a lot of flexibility, a lot of strength. He's very dynamic and he almost has this like virtuoso quality to him that, again, it's just fun. It's really fun to watch him.
So at the minute we're taking a look at our principal dancer, Stephen McRae. He's from Australia, quite a superstar. Stephen, yeah. He's in a lot of Wayne McGregor's work. He has this incredible body and the way he can move it is kind of mesmerising when you watch him, especially for a male to be able to do that.
It really is so inspiring to watch Elizabeth here, and over the span of 10 years we've seen a lot of the women in the company come in, be pregnant, come do class, and obviously we only see class during World Ballet Day, but it's so cool to see and it's so super inspiring. I hope that I'd be able to do that too. This makes me want to do bar and just have like a really nice long stretch afterwards. I love that green leotard. I always love green leotards. Actually, one of the things I'm noticing in 2014 versus the later years of World Ballet Day is the coloring, the lighting of the day. It seems, it's not quite yellow tinged, but it's almost like it's not as finished or refined or as cinematic, I think, as the lighting is now. You'll see in the Insights rehearsals that they have these purple lights up in the back of the studio. They don't do that really during World Ballet Day, but the lighting is just a little bit more cinematic.
I remember when I was young in class, there was one boy in our whole ballet school. Exactly. And I remember he used to go to my day school and he came up to me and saying, please, Kristen, don't tell anybody that I'm doing ballet. He just couldn't handle the idea that his friends would know that he's coming to do ballet class.
I remember growing up in the school I was dancing in, there was one boy, and this is such a common story that there's the one boy or the two boys in the school. I worked in a school also for many, many years, and this was a common occurring case, unfortunately. You have a lot of boys that come in that love it, that are fully passionate about ballet. They tend to drop off, usually around the end of elementary school. It's a really, really common occurrence. 10 years later, it's better. I think things like World Ballet Day, things like having the Insights rehearsals and having availability to see really amazing male dancers on Instagram and on YouTube showing what they can do has been huge. I hope we're going in the right direction.
Kind of artists first, artists, soloists, we're on most shows.
One of the things I always notice with Yasmin Nagdi is her hand shape. And so in ballet, you can have kind of a really flat hand, a little bit more relaxed of a hand, a very like pointed fingers, kind of very positioned fingers hand. And then you get into balancing territory where you have almost this C shape. And you can see it really exaggerated in the School of American Ballet. And then the professionals in New York City Ballet and Miami City Ballet, it tends to relax and kind of lessen a little bit. And so I don't know if the flatter hand is specifically an English style of hand or not, but I see it on her a lot and it suits her style and her technique so well. And every time I see it, I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. I want to start doing that. And all of a sudden my hands start becoming a little flatter at the bar and in class. And it's quite funny how every time I start absorbing that into my style, but it suits her so well.
But for them, it's so taxing that they couldn't do every show of that role. It takes so much out of you. But I think
you can see it in her fifth.
The Royal Ballet with things like that. It's not just about the technique. Obviously, like you're seeing in class now, we're really trying to perfect our technique so we can perform every step to the best of our ability. But with a ballet like Manon, it takes. Okay, at the moment we're focusing on Eric, who's another one of our male dancers. He's a soloist. He's a favourite of Wayne McGregor's. Wayne loves to use him in his ballet. He's really strong, as I say, versatile, moves his body in such an incredible way and has quite a presence. He has quite a stature.
The bodies are really fluid, and really kind of almost like kind of a mercury morphing around.
That's a great way of describing it. So he's one of those guys.
I'm pausing because I'm looking at the chairs. I realize I'm watching a ballet class, but I'm so interested in where these chairs are because I swear in every other video I've seen, they're there. So I don't know if either they were taken out for World Ballet Day or if they were pushed in or if they hadn't been installed yet in 2014. It's very possible. But I think what we're seeing here probably is it's year one. They want to see where the cameras can go so that they don't get in the way of the class. There's going to be a lot of extra people in the room. So I'm sure they just wanted the extra space if it was pushed back. And that's probably what we're seeing here. But I'm just so curious. I'm probably never going to know, but I'm just so curious what the situation with the chairs there is.
And things are changing. Obviously, like I spoke, class is fundamental more and more. So this won't look anything like what you see of Wayne's work on stage. So
the other thing I'm noticing in 2014 is a lot of the camera angles. So they're doing a lot of through people directed to a certain person at the bar. And so you get a lot of shots like this where you have someone's arm or someone's face that's stuck in the camera. And I feel like it's something that you see a lot less now in the later years of World Ballet Day. It's a camera angle that's not used as much. The other thing is that they're also leaving the camera on people and being very pointed about specifically pointing people out. So, you know, we have the camera on Francesca Hayward, we have the camera on Stephen McRae, we have the camera on Eric Underwood. And so they're kind of doing these introductions like this with the camera hovering on people, and they don't do that as much anymore. And I think it's a little bit, this was the first year that they were doing that. We now have had audiences following World Ballet Day for 9 years. It'll be going into the 10th year. So the audiences know the company members a lot more. To be fair, there is a lot of change, right? Over 10 years, you have dancers that have retired, that have left, you have new dancers that have joined in. So they don't do it as much anymore. But it's interesting to see in 2014 these videography choices and how that's evolved over time.
Yeah, feet, back, front, back, fifth. 2 groups, please. First group, thank you. And thank you.
I'm just giggling a little bit because this happens often, right? In combat exercises, when you have 2 groups, and you do 2 groups because you need more space, you need to not be able to kick people around you. And so the group that isn't going right away will go to the front or back of the studio or off to the side. So you saw Fumi before running out of the way. But what also can happen is you get stuck in between people and you really have to stay on the spot or else you'll get kicked and you'll get in someone's way. So you just end up having a few people that are kind of awkwardly hanging out in the middle of the class waiting for the exercise to finish because you get stuck to that spot. It happens, but it makes me giggle every time. Sarah Lamb, who's here in the navy blue zip up and the black trash shorts and the cream leg warmers around her calves. It's such a specific Sarah Lamb look to have these short leg warmers around her calves. She must have tight calves. But I've seen her in this in almost every photo I've seen or every video I've seen. She always has these leg warmers on. Run, run, run! See, it's people getting out of the way.
Some of the girls you'll see will be changing their shoes. They like to do centre on point. So we'll see a little bit of that.
What did
Centre on point? Yeah. Let's explain. So,
because in 2014 they did a lot of this conversation around they're putting on their point shoes. What are point shoes? Why are they putting on their point shoes? The vocabulary is all in French. A lot of explanation around why things were being done a certain way, which makes sense. Again, this is the first year, so it's the first year that cameras were coming into the class and into the companies like that. But now in later years, and I think it was around 2017 that a lot of the audience started saying, hey, we're really here to watch the class, to be able to take it in future, to check in on the dancers that we know and love, to find some new ones to come in and enjoy the class. Can we, save these questions for later? Can we have a little less commentary during the class? And they actually seem to take this directive on, and there's a lot less of these conversations during class, but it's a hard thing to balance. World Ballet Day, is it to introduce ballet to a brand new audience, or is it to engage the audience that's already excited about ballet? And I think the answer is kind of both, which makes it really difficult to know what questions to answer, what commentary to give, and what commentary to save for another time. But I think they've done a really good job of balancing that over the years. And clearly they're listening to the audience, so it's interesting.
Yeah, they've changed. There are so many makes now of point shoes. So there only used to be a couple. Kind of the latest one of these ones called Gaynor Minden. And they're like the Nike of point shoes. And they're made for something.
Gaynor Minden was new in 2014? I guess it would have been newer. The school I was dancing with when I was a kid had done an exchange with a school in Costa Rica. And I remember when they all came in that they were all wearing Gaynor Mindens. And I hadn't heard of them before. I hadn't seen them before. None of the local stores were stocking Gaynor Minden shoes. It was a brand new thing at the time. It's so interesting. I guess they would have been maybe new to the professional world at the time. I don't know when Gaynor Minden, when it came out. 1993. Gaynor Minden came out in 1993. I'm definitely gonna have to go look back at my Gaynor Minden history because I had no idea they came out that long ago. Maybe they didn't come out with these shoes specifically in 1993, but I do know that Gaynor Minden point shoes were very different than what was already on the market. There was all kinds of narratives around them too. I remember a lot of the conversation being, you know, Gaynor Mindens are cheater shoes, which it was thought that it didn't allow you to roll up onto point as much and it just kind of popped you up onto point, but it's really not true. You can roll up and roll down in a pair of Gaynor Mindens. Your foot isn't weaker. It's not helping you out in any different way than a regular point shoe is. So we know better now, but it's just funny to think that in 2014, this was still a new shoe. Because if you look now at the shoes that we have, there's so many brands, but I would say you would think Freed, Block, Gaynor Minden are probably in your top 3 brands of shoes. It's interesting to hear these new shoes, Gaynor Minden, in 2014. Quite funny.
They're almost like a plastic, so they're molten, they don't really break, and they're machine manufactured. So every shoe is exactly the same. Most of them are all handmade in factories. So then it was a bit exciting for her to really, develop the role every time she performs it.
So Sarah Lamb's hair is in these braids in the bottom, and what I feel like I've noticed in 2014 is so many of the women in the class have these high buns, a bit French twists. I feel like you don't see as many high buns nowadays. Maybe it's just having a quieter moment and it'll come back. Braids going into a bun is a lot more common. I guess it's a little bit more on trend nowadays. I really like the braids. I guess it's like everything else. Hairstyles come in and out of style, so I feel like we're seeing that a little bit 10 years ago. There's Alexander Campbell in these like graphite tights and a black t-shirt there. He now hosts World Ballet Day for the last 3 or 4 years, and hopefully we'll see him on November 1st. Actually, one of the things I am noticing in terms of style, there's a lot more lace in 2014. I feel like lace has fallen out of favor a little bit. Definitely out of favor in comparison to mesh. Everything is mesh now. And to be fair, I really like the mesh look. I think it's very clean looking. Mesh panel in the front of a leotard, mesh sleeves, a mesh back, mesh skirts. How many times can I say mesh? But the style's definitely changed over the last few years. I really want to take this class. Stephen McRae is so much fun to watch.
Bring it to you. Wrap it around your spine.
White Lodge is out in Richmond, and it's like it's a school, it's a ballet school, right?
Yeah, it's a ballet school, so you can go when you're 11, so it's a full-time boarding school, so you do your academics and your full-time ballet training there every day.
Wow.
I wanted to do full-time boarding school for ballet so badly as a kid. Oh my goodness. I remember getting, I don't think I still have these books, but there were these Royal Ballet School books that I had as a kid. And there was one for early years training, which I guess would have been more White Lodge, and one for, I think what would have been upper school, because I remember the dark blue leotards, the burgundy leotards that are part of the uniform still to this day. And Darcy Bustle was in a bunch of the pages. So it really made me want to go to boarding school for ballet. Oh my goodness. And then of course I grew up with Harry Potter. So between the two, it was like boarding school was this magical thing, you know, where you just got to learn and hang out with your friends and do wonderful, fun things that you loved.
You can see us in the cinemas now, which is a great thing. We do live cinema relays.
I just saw it.
The live cinema relays are fantastic. I remember starting to watch these in 2014, and then at the time it was very Bolshoi heavy because the Royal Ballet, they had a few that were available in cinemas around me, so I'm in Canada, And I remember watching Frankenstein when they staged that in 2016 in cinemas, and it was incredible. It was a great experience. They don't have a lot of in-cinema live relays in Canada anymore. Please come back. I want to watch you guys live.
Great, people love it. You know, it's kind of a new thing that we're doing, and it seems to have gone down really well. So wherever you are in the world, you can see what we're doing on stage.
It's awesome.
Perfect. It's gone worldwide.
Yeah, totally worldwide.
So much fun.
Right side back. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so over here I'll put my mouse. I hope you can see the mouse in the recording, but this is Megan Grace Hinkes, or Megan Grace Hinkes. I'm not sure how she pronounces it. She is an incredible turner. I think she's a lefty. I'm a left turner, so I tend to spot the people in class who are left turners, but I think she's a left turner. So much fun to watch her. She has a really high passe too. The class pianists are incredible.
Yes, that's it. Last time to the right.
Oop, Megan is here. I need to stop. Megan Grace Hinkes is such a fun turner to watch. There's so much I wish I could just absorb from her turning and put into me turning. She's super on her leg, super solid. Her turns are so tight. Like, she just turns so tightly. It's very, very steady. She's very on her leg. She lands. It's so stable and it's so quick and snappy. A lot of what I'm trying to replicate when I'm trying to do my turns. I love watching her turn. I love doing this exercise in the center. It just gets you on your leg. Oh, that looks like so much fun. Ooh, I want to do that exercise. It's the direction change that adds to the fun. Beatrice Stix Brunel is there in the short sleeve zip leotard. I used to love watching her too. She's retired now. This exercise is so much fun. I remember watching this for the first time in 2014. I've tried this exercise before too. It's a lot of fun. I've had that correction before with the ballonnaise not coming down and going kind of more out or more up almost, and it's really helpful because it keeps you light and buoyant, and it's one of the really good corrections I've received before. It's fun to hear that here too. Marcelino Sambe has such a nice jump. He just kind of hangs in the air. It's really lovely.
Still got Carlos to come up, a new ballet by one of our young choreographers, Ludwig Viella. So much, and then I think we hand over to National Ballet of Canada and San Francisco still come, yeah.
So actually the National Ballet of Canada, I think only did the first 2 years and then hasn't since. So as a Canadian, my plea to the National Ballet of Canada is please come back. We want to watch you again. But San Francisco Ballet also, I think, only did the first couple or first few years and has not been as involved in the last few years and is back this year. So this year the big three are the Australian Ballet, the Royal Ballet, and then San Francisco Ballet. So they'll be part of the main kind of stream. So they're back. And I'm really excited for San Francisco Ballet this year. My goodness, I'm just watching completely mesmerized now. But this is exactly what happens. You just get into it and you're in it. You're totally absorbed. I've noticed a lot of the dancers, of course, 10 years ago are there, and I don't know them. Like this woman in the lilac colored leotard, I don't know who that is. There's a lot of the men that I don't know who they are. And I mean, it makes sense, right? 10 years ago, the dancers and the company would have looked different. That's Valentino Zucchetti in all gray. He's fun to watch too. Ooh. So much fun. Oh my goodness. It's fun to see some fouettes. We don't always get to fouettes at the end of World Ballet Day classes. It's hard to fit everything in. Yay! I always find it so interesting to watch the dancers during class and to see what their essentials are. And for some people, it's specific warm-ups. For other people, you might see massage balls where they roll their feet with them. And I actually do that too. If you click this video here, you'll see all of my essentials for a ballet class. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.